My husband, Marcus, with whom I had been deeply in love for 15 years, suddenly asked for a divorce. My eyes red from crying, I pressed him about who the other woman was, but he only responded with silence. Is it someone I know? The moment I asked, Marcus's gaze visibly shifted away. I started to think of all the possible candidates we both knew. First, there was Chloe, his newly hired assistant. Then there was Sophia, his first love who had just returned from abroad. And finally, the one I least wanted to believe, my cousin, Riley. Their faces flashed one by one before my eyes. So who exactly was Marcus so determined to divorce me for? I didn't agree to Marcus's divorce request unless he told me who he was having an affair with. After 15 years of marriage, you at least owe me an explanation of what kind of woman could so easily shatter our relationship. Marcus looked at me, tears streaming down my face, with a guilty expression, but still remained silent. It was clear he was adamant about protecting that woman. But his silence was an even greater blow to me, proving that woman was more important to him than I was. He was afraid I would try to hurt her if I knew her identity. Disappointed, I told him to leave. Just go. I won't agree to a divorce until I know who she is. Marcus tried to say something else, but I pushed him out the door. After closing the door, I slowly slid down against it, bursting into uncontrollable sobs. The next day, I called my cousin, Riley, and told her about Marcus wanting a divorce. At first, she was incredulous, because Marcus usually doted on me like the apple of his eye. No way, Grace, she said. Marcus was just at my place the day before yesterday, buying a diamond ring. He said it was a surprise for your wedding anniversary. Seeing my bitter smile and silence, she finally believed the divorce was real. Angrily, she pulled me out the door. How could I not see that Marcus was such a cunning scoundrel? Who is that bitch? I'll go get justice for you. I looked at Riley, furious like a little lioness, and saw not a hint of guilt on her face. She quickly pulled me out the door, just as we ran into Ms. Doris, our neighbor, who was coming back from grocery shopping. She greeted me warmly, as usual. Are you two off shopping again? I really envy you. Married well, plenty of money, no need to work. You can just do whatever you want. Riley ignored her, pulling me with a singular focus on getting out. Ms. Doris, being good-natured, didn't mind us and even told us to be careful. I gave her a polite smile. My cousin shoved me into the car, then hit the gas, driving aggressively towards Marcus's company. All the way there, she kept cursing. I bet that bitch is Marcus's new assistant. I've never liked her. She's always playing the innocent little lamb. Who acts like that at work? I told you to fire her before, but you were too soft-hearted. You said her family was struggling financially and she had a gravely ill mother to support. So naive. Now you see I was right, don't you? I managed a bitter smile. Chloe was also my first thought, simply because Marcus really took care of this new assistant. Not long after she started, Marcus would often mention her to me. He praised her for being diligent and meticulous in her work, saying she really clicked with him, and even gave her 3 raises in just 2 months. And last month, when he went on a business trip to discuss a project, he only took her. When the car arrived at the company building, Riley pulled me, ignoring the receptionist's attempts to stop us, and rushed directly to the CEO's office on the 10th floor. The moment the elevator doors opened, Riley angrily yelled for Marcus. Marcus, get out here and explain yourself to us. Chloe saw us storming over and hurriedly came to greet us. Grace, what a surprise to see you here today. Riley shoved her aside, her gaze chilling and her tone hostile. We don't need to explain ourselves to you. Where's Marcus? Tell him to come out. A hint of difficulty crossed Chloe's face. Mr. Marcus went to meet a client today. He's not in the office. Riley was about to say more, but I held her back. My expression calm, my tone as normal as possible, I said, oh, we're fine. Just tired from shopping and happened to be passing by and wanted to rest a bit. Her nervous expression vanished, and she quickly poured us 2 cups of coffee. I took the coffee and a small sip. It was Marcus's preferred sweetness and flavor. I hesitated, then casually made conversation, as if offhand. Lately, Marcus has been praising you a lot, saying you're hardworking and ambitious, and that he admires you greatly and is planning to promote you. As heard this, a flash of panic instantly crossed her face, and her eyes, full of guilt, dared not meet mine. My heart tightened. Could it really be her? My hand unconsciously tightened around the cup. Riley also noticed Chloe's discomfort and slammed her cup down on the table. The loud noise made Chloe's body tremble involuntarily. I placed my hand on Riley, who was about to erupt, and gave her a calming look. As if not noticing Chloe's discomfort, I suddenly changed the subject and asked her, "By the way, how's that project you and Marcus discussed on your business trip last month?" At my question, a moment of bewilderment flashed across Chloe's face. A business trip with Mr. Marcus last month? But I didn't go on any business trips last month. Last month, my mother's condition suddenly worsened, and I took a month off to care for her in the hospital. You knew about this, Grace. You even transferred me 20,000, telling me to focus on caring for her. As she spoke, she seemed to suddenly remember something, quickly took a charm from the drawer, and offered it to me with both hands, smiling shyly. "This charm is one I obtained for you at the local temple, to keep you safe. I've been wanting to give it to you in person. My mother and I both wanted to thank you properly." I took the charm, then remembered that indeed, something like this had happened. At the time, I felt sorry for her, a young woman working to support her family and care for her gravely ill mother. Since I couldn't help much else, I transferred her 20,000, hoping it would ease her financial burden and keep her from being overwhelmed. But it was too minor an event, I didn't give it a second thought. Only now, with her bringing it up, did I recall it. I had seen her social media post praying for her mother's well-being, with a photo of her mother lying in the ICU, her face pale. My heart went out to her, and that's when I transferred her the money. So had been lying to me all along. Marcus was having an affair with someone else. Could it be Sophia? At least for now, she was the only one left on my list. I quickly said goodbye to Chloe, pulling Riley with me as we left. My mind was a mess. That woman was like a curse, plunging me into endless agony. Seeing the distraught look on my face, Riley suggested we go to a coffee shop she frequented, to get something to drink and calm down. I nodded silently. As we stepped into the coffee shop, I looked up and saw Sophia not far away. She didn't see me. She was laughing and talking to a blonde man with blue eyes sitting next to her. I froze. Riley noticed my abrupt stop, followed my gaze, and also saw Sophia. She immediately tried to rush over, but I held her back. Riley looked back at me, exasperated. "Grace, what's your hesitation? If it's not Chloe, it has to be her. We just ran into her, saves us the trouble of finding her. Don't be scared, I've got your back. You just watch." I shook my head, softly reassuring her. "This is the wrong time and place. And it's all just speculation, we can't be sure she's Marcus's affair partner. Causing a scene prematurely would be bad. It's better to find an opportunity to ask her privately, to maintain some dignity for both her and us." Eiley stamped her foot in frustration. "She's an adulteress seducing someone else's husband, and we're supposed to give her dignity?" I managed a bitter smile, but still managed to calm Riley down. We ordered 2 drinks and sat down not far from Sophia. Just as we sat down, a blonde, biracial little boy, Leo, ran over to Sophia, laughing. "Daddy, Mommy, look what I found." Hearing this, I looked over at Sophia in surprise. I saw her affectionately pull the boy into her arms, while the man beside her first kissed the boy, then affectionately kissed Sophia's cheek. My heart jolted. Sophia was married? So she wasn't Marcus's affair partner either? Who exactly was the woman ruining my family? Had lied to me? Was he not actually having an affair, but rather dealing with some hidden, unavoidable reason? A faint hope rekindled in my heart, and a glimmer of hope rose in my eyes. Deep down, I had always been unwilling to believe Marcus would betray me. After all, he had never abandoned me, even when we had nothing and I was diagnosed with uremia. He even later donated a kidney to me. He had smiled and comforted my broken self then. "I'm so happy I can give you a kidney," he'd said. "This way, a part of me will always be inside you. We'll never be separated. Even if we turn to dust, we'll still be together." Isn't that romantic? 15 years ago, despite my parents' objections, I resolutely chose Marcus, who was then poor and had nothing. Everyone thought poorly of my choice, waiting to see me fail. Even my parents angrily threw me out of the house. Marcus took my hand and solemnly promised, "Grace, trust me. If you're willing to bet your life's happiness on me, I won't let you lose. I'll make them all see that you'll be happier than anyone." Tears of happiness streaming down my face, I nodded emphatically. I borrowed money everywhere to help him start his business, growing it from just the 2 of us to a small company with over a dozen employees. To get clients for the compan. Why, I drank so much I ended up hospitalized with a gastric hemorrhage. I often worked 20 hours a day, but I never complained. That was simply because Marcus truly fulfilled his promise. His company grew larger and larger, and he no longer made me work. He doted on me for 15 years, day in and day out. Anything I ever said, he would take to heart. He would always answer my phone calls immediately, no matter the time. He became what everyone called a henpecked husband. He would just smile and say, "You don't know how wonderful my wife is. Making her happy is the only belief I have in this life." I refused to believe that such a Marcus would betray me, cheat, and fall in love with another woman. Just as a sliver of quiet joy rose in my heart, Riley suddenly tugged hard on my arm, anxiously handing me her phone. "Grace, quickly, look. Isn't the man called husband in the video Marcus?" My heart clenched, and I hesitantly took the phone. In the video, a woman, her back to the camera, was sitting on Marcus's lap, playfully pouting. The woman's voice was altered, but her coquettish tone remained unchanged. "Husband, do you love me?" Marcus smiled, a look of helpless affection on his face. "Yes, I adore my sweetheart the most." Then the woman cupped Marcus's face, continuing to pout, asking for a kiss. Marcus put his arm around the woman's waist and kissed her with a mix of indulgence and helplessness. Then he lifted her horizontally into his arms, vowing to punish his little minx. The video ended there. I had never seen Marcus so unrestrained. Since I first met him, he had always been a very reserved person. Even when he loved me most, he never called me sweetheart, he only called me by my name. I had playfully asked him to, but he said it was too childish, he couldn't say it. I scrolled through several more videos posted by the woman, all of them showing intimate moments with Marcus. The pain in my heart was so intense I could barely breathe. Then, in the most recent video, Marcus, his eyes full of tenderness, held an opened, exquisite gift box. Inside was a uniquely designed ring. He tenderly declared his love to the woman filming. "Sweetheart, today marks our 5th year together. Meeting you is the greatest happiness of my life. I love you." 5 years. 5 years. He's been cheating for 5 years. No, they've been together for 5 years. Then he. I dared not think further, my fingers trembling uncontrollably. The tenderness in Marcus's eyes pierced my heart. Tears ran down my cheeks and dripped into my coffee, making the already bitter coffee even more agonizing to swallow. Riley, agitated, pointed at the screen when she saw the ring. "That's it. Marcus bought this exact ring from me just 2 days ago. I can't be mistaken, that ring cost $10 million and is the only one of its kind in the country. He told me he was planning to give it to you as a wedding anniversary gift. No wonder he told me not to tell you. It was actually for his little minx." Riley took the phone and scrolled through the woman's posts, muttering incessantly. "I'm going to find out who this bitch is. Once I know, I'll tear her apart." Just then, Sophia and her family seemed to be leaving. As she walked past us, arm in arm with the man, Riley suddenly erupted. While I was still reeling from the pain of betrayal and hadn't reacted, Riley swiftly caught up to Sophia, grabbed her, and slapped her across the face. The sharp crack attracted everyone's attention and snapped me back to reality. I quickly rushed forward to pull Riley away and apologize to Sophia. "Riley, what are you doing?" Riley angrily pointed at Sophia. "Grace, she's Marcus's affair partner. Look, she's wearing that ring on her hand." I froze, then slowly turned my head to look at Sophia, who was covering her face and glaring furiously at us. I clearly saw the exact same ring on her hand as in the video. My heart sank completely. More than a decade of companionship ultimately couldn't compete with the deep imprint of his youth. And to think, I felt sorry for him for so long when Marcus told me Sophia had abandoned him because he was poor. Was sympathizing with a man truly the beginning of misfortune? As I stood there stunned, Marcus suddenly appeared, shielding Sophia. He glared at me, his face full of disappointment, and admonished me angrily. "Grace, what are you two doing?" His voice snapped me back to my senses. Forcing down my grief, I looked at Marcus, who was confronting me in a protective stance, and I laughed. So, I could never compare to her, could I? A flicker of guilt flashed in Marcus's eyes, but he ignored me, turning instead to anxiously comfort Sophia. The anxiety on his face was like a sharp knife twisting in my heart, the pain numbing my entire body. My first instinct was to escape this humiliating and suffocating place. The next second, like a defeated general, I pulled Riley, who was still ready to fight for me, and we made a pathetic escape. That evening, Marcus came to find me. Seeing me, my eyes swollen from crying, my spirit dejected, a flicker of pity crossed his eyes. He gently held me, just as he used to. "Grace, promise me. Please don't investigate any further, okay? Don't go bothering Sophia anymore." As he held me in his arms, I felt a moment of disorientation, as if everything that had happened was just a nightmare. But hearing Marcus tell me not to bother Sophia anymore, my heart, which I thought had gone numb with pain, was squeezed agonizingly tight once more. I pushed him away and tearfully demanded an answer. Do you love her that much? Do you know she has a husband and children? Don't any of these things matter to you? He remained silent, only watching me unravel with a pained, helpless expression. Looking at the man who once vowed I'd never shed a tear, now he just silently watched me struggle in agony and helplessness, completely unmoved. My heart died completely. I collapsed to the FL. Or in despair. Marcus instinctively reached out to help me, but stopped just before he touched me. I looked at him steadily and gave a bleak smile. Fine, I'll grant your wish. I agree to the divorce. Marcus seemed to breathe a huge sigh of relief. Though a hint of reluctance remained on his face, the delight in his eyes betrayed him. I don't know when Marcus left. I sat there numbly until dawn. It wasn't until the doorbell rang that I slowly and laboriously got up, like a zombie. Seeing that it was Chloe, I gave a bitter laugh. What? Are you here to deliver the divorce agreement for Marcus? Chloe first looked at my disheveled appearance in surprise, then nervously bit her lip, her hands clutching her pants tightly. Seeing her flustered look, I knew she was just a young woman trying to make a living, and I shouldn't take my anger at Marcus out on her. I forced a weak, unattractive smile and held out my hand to her. Give it to me, I'll sign. At this, Chloe seemed to have made up her mind about something, and she spoke. Grace, I've been thinking for days, and I believe there's something I should tell you. Mr. Marcus is cheating, and the woman he's seeing is. I gave her a bitter smile, cutting her off. I know. It's Sophia, his first love. Chloe, however, shook her head frantically. No, Grace, it's not Sophia. Then she took out a photo and handed it to me. This was taken downstairs from your house a few days ago when I came to drop off the charm for you. In the photo, Marcus and the woman had their fingers intertwined, gazing deeply into each other's eyes. When I saw the woman's face, I felt as if I'd been struck by lightning. How could it be her? I had suspected everyone else, but never her. And I was so foolish that they had been having an affair for 5 years right under my nose, and I hadn't even noticed. Chloe worriedly held me, alternately crying and laughing, and asked cautiously, Grace, are you all right? I'm so sorry, Grace, I should have told why. Oh, you sooner, but I was afraid Mr. Marcus would fire me if he found out, and my mother's illness still needs money. But I felt uneasy these past few days. You've been so kind to me, I couldn't. I was barely holding on to my sanity, shaking my head numbly to interrupt her. I'm fine. You go on ahead. I just need to be alone for a bit. Chloe left guiltily, looking back repeatedly. I sat numbly on the sofa, staring at the wedding photo of Marcus and me opposite me. I couldn't understand. How could the Marcus who loved me so deeply betray me for that woman? He loved Chloe's youthful vitality. He couldn't forget his unforgettable bond with Sophia. I could even accept him falling for Riley. But I truly couldn't accept losing to a woman who had nothing. I fell into a deep abyss of self-doubt. Was I really so unbearable that Marcus would abandon me for her? My heart felt as if an invisible hand was squeezing it tightly, the pain making it hard to breathe. I wanted to cry, but my mouth open, no sound came out. I felt nauseous, leaning over the sink and vomiting until the world spun. My vision swam with black spots, then I lost consciousness. When I woke up again, I saw Riley sitting anxiously by my hospital bed. Seeing me conscious, the usually carefree girl's eyes instantly welled up with tears. She hugged me tightly, sobbing uncontrollably. Grace, how can you be so foolish? Marcus is the one who messed up. Why are you torturing yourself like this? Suddenly, like a wronged child, I burst into loud sobs in Riley's arms. Riley, do you know who that woman Marcus is protecting is? Riley froze for a moment, then said angrily. Sophia, of course. Didn't we catch them red-handed that day? I shook my head, tears falling, my eyes filled with the despair of a crushing blow. It's not Sophia. Riley looked at me, her eyes full of confusion. Then who is it? I closed my eyes, and spoke slowly, word by word. It's Ms. Doris, our neighbor. Riley's eyes widened in disbelief. No way. Isn't Ms. Doris in her 40s? And a widow? How could Marcus divorce you for a woman like that? I managed a bitter smile. I didn't want to believe it either, but it's the truth. I handed Riley the photo Chloe had given me yesterday. After seeing it, Riley immediately flew into a rage. Marcus is divorcing you for an old, ugly, uneducated country woman like that? Has he lost his mind? A bitter feeling rose in my heart. I couldn't understand it either. But then I thought about it carefully. Marcus's suddenly changed tastes. He used to couldn't eat a meal without spicy food, but now he ate incredibly bland food. I had teased him about it, and he said he was getting older and should pay attention to his health. He used to always come home to sleep, no matter how late he worked. But about 5 years ago, he started telling me he was staying at the company so he wouldn't disturb my rest when he came back late. It turned out all these things had been warning signs, but I was too confident in his feelings for me and never suspected a thing. Riley picked up her phone and called Marcus. Marcus, you scumbag. What about Grace isn't good enough for you that you have to hurt her like this? Grace was truly blind, suffering and struggling with you for over a decade, only for you to end up with such a tacky woman to disgust her. You and that old woman can just wait for your karma. With that, she threw her phone down and got my clothes for me. Grace, let's go. I want to see what Marcus sees in her, to be so utterly captivated he'd abandon his home for her. I followed her to the door across the hall. Riley didn't ring the doorbell. Instead, she banged loudly on the door. Ms. Doris quickly opened it. Before Doris could react, Riley shoved the door wide open and stormed inside, pulling me with her. Once inside, I noticed the home decor was exactly like mine. Ms. Doris looked at me nervously. What do you want? I looked at Ms. Doris, with her dark skin, freckled and wrinkled face. Her figure was decent, but that was all, and I smiled. I know about you and my husband. At my words, Ms. Doris's gaze first darted away, then calmly met my cold stare. Oh, you're here about that. Yes, it's true, I'm with your husband. I didn't expect her to admit it so brazenly, as if she were Marcus's legitimate wife and I was the mistress causing a scene. Seeing her speaking with such self-righteousness, Riley flew into a rage and slapped her across the face. You're a mistress, and you have the nerve to act superior? You shameless tramp. She raised her hand to strike again, but Marcus, who had just rushed back, grabbed her arm and flung her violently aside. As if I weren't even there, he quickly walked over to Ms. Doris, tenderly caressed her cheek, his eyes full of concern, his voice imbued with an unprecedented gentleness. Are you all right? It's my fault for coming back late. Go inside, I'll handle this here. When Doris saw Marcus, her face, which had just been staring at me with triumphant defiance, was now full of grievance and fear. Marcus hugged her, and Ms. Doris nodded docilely. I helped the fallen Riley up and held her back as she tried to rush forward again. Riley, let me handle my issues with him. Riley glared fiercely at Marcus and retreated behind me. After comforting Ms. Doris, Marcus finally turned to me, his brow furrowed. The face that had just shown such gentle concern for Ms. Doris was now filled with irritation when he looked at me. Grace, didn't you already agree to the divorce? What more do you want to cause a scene about? Is knowing who that person is really that important? I don't love you anymore. It has nothing to do with anyone else. From the moment he proposed divorce until now, this was the first time he had ever told me he didn't love me anymore. My body violently trembled, and I almost lost my footing. The only belief that had sustained me these past few days was that Marcus still loved me. That's why I wanted to find that woman. I firmly believed that if I could just make her leave Marcus, and I could go back to the way we were. But now he firmly told me that he didn't love me anymore. And the woman who had stolen his love was this kind of woman. He was humiliating me. My belief instantly crumbled, and my sanity completely unraveled. I slapped him, glaring at him furiously, and roared my questions. Marcus, just for a woman like this, you've forgotten all your past vows, haven't you? What about your promise to give me a lifetime of happiness? I chose to be thrown out by my parents and stood by you through thick and thin for over a decade, and now it all ends with a simple "I don't love you"? Have you no conscience? Marcus had never seen me so hysterical, and he froze on the spot. I desperately hit and scratched at him, demanding answers. Speak up. What am I lacking compared to her, that you would betray our marriage for a woman like this? A flicker of pain crossed Marcus's eyes, but it was quickly overshadowed by exhaustion and impatience. It seemed a fire was simmering within him too. Ignited by my accusations, he roughly shoved me away, his face filled with dissatisfaction towards me. You're better than her in every way. You're young, beautiful, and capable. But I'm a man. I also want to come home to a hot meal, instead of having to cook for you after a long, tiring day. When I face difficulties, I want to come home to a comforting embrace, instead of lectures and rational arguments. Grace, you're excellent in every way, but you don't understand me. I need a gentle wife who can comfort me when I come home, not a rational, strong-willed leader. I get tired too, okay? Managing the company is exhausting, and I want to come home and catch my breath, but I still have to go out of my way to appease you. I really can't take it anymore. I'll go crazy if this continues. Ms. Doris is different. She may not understand much, but she gently comforts me, okays for me, and cares for my well-being. With her, I feel respected and needed. Do you understand any of this? I didn't understand. I didn't understand that trying to find solutions for his company problems was wrong. I didn't understand that he had repeatedly insisted I shouldn't cook, saying he would take care of me for life, and now he blames me for it. I looked at his disappointed gaze, and the bitter ache in my heart was unbearable, choking me so that I couldn't utter a single word in retort. We stood in silent confrontation for a long time. In the end, I was the one who capitulated. I lowered my head and said, devoid of all emotion, "Marcus, we are completely over." With that, I pulled Riley and walked away without looking back. My divorce from Marcus was swift. He voluntarily leaves empty-handed, taking nothing but his company, and giving me a substantial alimony payment. I sold the house and moved to the other side of the city, wanting to put as much distance between us as possible. But I never imagined that 6 months later, in the early hours of the morning, I would receive a frantic call for help from Marcus. "Grace, please, come quickly and save me." Marcus's voice was weak on the phone, as if he was about to collapse. I hesitated for a long time, but out of humanitarian concern, I called the police, then drove over. Stepping back into the residential complex where I had lived for 15 years, everything felt both strange and familiar. I had no time for reflection. I rushed to Ms. Doris's house, which was now Marcus and Ms. Doris's house. I pounded on the door forcefully, but no one answered, until the police arrived with the building management, holding a spare key. The moment the door opened, a strong natural gas smell wafted out, and I instinctively covered my mouth and nose. The police rushed in, quickly going to the kitchen to turn off the natural gas and opening all the doors and windows. I followed them inside and found an unconscious Marcus in the master bedroom. The paramedics who arrived shortly after quickly transported him to the hospital for treatment. The doctor said they managed to save his life because the rescue was timely, but inhaling too much natural gas had caused irreversible damage to his brain's nerves, and Marcus might lose his mobility in the future. I looked at the man still unconscious on the hospital bed, feeling no strong emotions. I had done what I could and was about to turn and leave. Marcus woke up and weakly called my name. "Grace, don't go." I paused, turning back to him. His eyes were tearful, and his face was full of guilt. "Grace, I'm sorry. I was wrong back then." Before he could finish, Ms. Doris rushed in, crying hysterically. Seeing, she threw herself at him, anxiously apologizing to him nonstop. "I'm so sorry, husband. I just went to the supermarket to buy a few things. I never thought natural gas would leak." I don't know if it was my imagination, but I thought I saw fear on Marcus's face. After confirming Marcus was all right, Ms. Doris turned to me, her expression sincere. "Thank you for saving my husband." I nodded politely, then turned to leave. They were strangers to me now. But just 1 month later, I received another call for help from Marcus. His voice was trembling as he cried heartbrokenly on the phone, filled with boundless terror. "Grace, save me. Ms. Doris is trying to kill me." I was skeptical and didn't really want to get involved with his affairs anymore, but he pleaded with me incessantly. I told myself this would be the last time. I drove to the spot Marcus had designated, and when I saw him, I was shocked. After a month apart, he was so thin he looked like a skeleton, his eye sockets dark and sunken, with no life in his eyes. I sat opposite him. His eyes instantly lit up when he saw me, and he excitedly grabbed my hand. "Grace, I was wrong. I shouldn't have been so madly foolish as to betray you. Can you forgive me?" I coldly pulled my hand away. Andy calmly looked at his pained face. "Just tell me what's wrong. What's between us is over, so let's not bring it up again." Marcus's eyes dimmed. After a long silence, he spoke again. "Grace, Ms. Doris is trying to kill me. Please, save me." I frowned deeply, skeptical of his words. "You should go to the police for something like this, not me." Marcus frantically shook his head. "I did go, but they didn't believe me. Ms. Doris is too good at acting. She made the police think I was mentally unstable. I could only come to you. I can't think of anyone else who can save me besides you." Seeing I still didn't believe him, he took a file folder from his coat and handed it to me. I hesitated, then took it, opened it, and pulled out the contents. "This is a high-value insurance policy she bought for me, with her as the sole beneficiary. And here are several claims reports. Although the deceased were different, she was also the sole beneficiary in all of them. I had someone privately investigate these individuals, and it turns out they were all her ex-husbands, and every single one died in an accident." I looked at these materials in shock. "Grace, I know Riley's father is the chief of the police department. Please help me. Ms. Doris has already started trying to hurt me. I'm begging you to help me. She really will kill me." I silently flipped through the documents in my hand. After much deliberation, I decided to help him this one last time. Consider it repayment for the kidney he gave me. After this, we'd truly owe each other nothing. Just as I put away the file folder, Ms. Doris suddenly appeared like a ghost. Husband, what are you discussing that you can't invite Grace home to talk about? You're not well, the doctor said you should stay indoors more. When saw Ms. Doris appear, his eyes filled with terror, and his already pale face turned even whiter. I smiled politely and gave a casual greeting. No need. We just ran into each other and caught up for a moment. I have other plans, so I'll be going. Then I quickly turned and left. After leaving, I went straight to Riley, told her everything, and asked her to come with me to Uncle to resolve Marcus's situation. At first, when she heard it was to help Marcus, she flat out refused. But after my endless explanations and relentless persuasion, she reluctantly agreed, still exasperated. We went straight to the police department, found Uncle, and told him about Marcus and Ms. Doris. Uncle also felt there was something suspicious about the case and immediately assigned people to investigate. During the investigation, to ensure Marcus's safety, I started contacting him more frequently in private. This might have led him to misunderstand something, and he began to probe my feelings towards him. Grace, if I were to say, is there still a chance for us? Whenever he asked that, I would respond with silence, just as he had been silent when he first proposed divorce to me. Slowly, he stopped bringing it up, but would occasionally reminisce about our past. Whenever he did, I would coldly cut him off. That's in the past. Why bring it up? Marcus would give an awkward laugh, then lower his head in disappointment. The police were very efficient in their investigation, and Ms. Doris's case was quickly cleared up. The results left the investigating officers astounded. Before, Ms. Doris had been a mistress to 10 different men under various identities, forcing their legal spouses out. Without exception, all 10 men had died in unexpected accidents for different reasons. Afterwards, Ms. Doris would collect substantial compensation from the insurance policies she had taken out, along with the men's inheritances. When the police arrived to arrest her, she showed no sign of panic. She calmly dressed and picked up her bag, as if she were just going out to buy groceries. Seeing her arrested, Marcus, who had been on edge, completely erupted. He roared at Ms. Doris like a caged beast. Why do you deceive me? You destroyed my home, you ruined the rest of my life. The gentleness vanished from Ms. Doris's face, and a mocking smile played on her lips. I deceived you? You men are all the same, always blaming women when things go wrong. What did I deceive you about? Was it not true that I was good to you? Was it not true that you said you loved the relaxed feeling of being with me? You were greedy and selfish, betraying your wife who loved you. What does that have to do with me? I never forced you to get a divorce. You were the one who said you couldn't stand that kind of life. Everything was your own choice. What did I do wrong? The police led Ms. Doris away. I looked at the devastated Marcus, sighed, and was about to turn and leave. Marcus broke down sobbing, calling out my name. Grace, I was wrong. I shouldn't have betrayed you, betrayed our relationship. I'm sorry. I looked at him, sobbing uncontrollably, and slowly crouched before him. Hope flared in his eyes. Grace, are you willing to forgive me now? I'll be even better to you than before. I'll give you a lifetime of happiness. I gazed into his eyes and said softly, does it hurt? You know, when you betrayed me, I felt the same pain. Do you remember what you said back then? You said I didn't understand you. But, when have you ever truly understood me? Grace, never look back on trash I've thrown away. After this, we're even. From now on, we're strangers. Don't ever look for me again. Marcus watched me in despair as I deleted all his contact information right in front of him. Then I turned and left. The past is not worth dwelling on, but the future is still full of promise. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments section, so please share your opinions. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.